They say the fate of the world is decided by powerful leaders, armies, and presidents. But on one night in 1983, the fate of the entire planet rested in the hands of a single man, sitting alone in a darkened control room, staring at a blinking red light. His name was Stanislav Petrov, and most of the world has never even heard of him. The Cold War was at its height. The United States and the Soviet Union had enough nuclear weapons to destroy the world many times over. Tensions were razor sharp. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and everything could end in fire. Petrov was a lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Defense Forces, stationed at a secret bunker outside Moscow. His job was simple in theory, but terrifying in practice. Monitor the Soviet Union's early warning satellites for signs of a nuclear strike from America. If the system detected incoming missiles, Petrov's duty was to confirm the attack and pass the order up the chain of command. That order would almost certainly mean launching a counterstrike. Thousands of nuclear warheads aimed at American cities. It was late at night, September 26, 1983, when the alarms began to scream. The computer screens flashed a single chilling word. Launch detected. The satellite system was reporting that the United States had fired a nuclear missile at the Soviet Union. Then another. Then another. Within minutes, the display showed 5 intercontinental ballistic missiles, all on their way, streaking across the sky toward Soviet soil. In the bunker, red lights blared. Officers shouted. The protocol was clear. Petrov was supposed to pick up the phone and report that an American nuclear strike was underway. Had he done so, the Soviet leadership would almost certainly have launched a full retaliatory strike. Nuclear submarines, bombers, and silos would unleash their firepower. Millions of people in the US, Europe, and the Soviet Union would be vaporized within hours. And the nuclear winter that followed could have meant the end of human civilization. But in that moment, faced with the weight of the world on his shoulders, Stanislav Petrov hesitated. Something felt wrong to him. He knew the technology, he knew the system, and he knew that if the United States really wanted to start a nuclear war, they wouldn't launch just 5 missiles. They would send hundreds overwhelming Soviet defenses in a single, devastating strike. 5 missiles didn't make sense. He also knew the satellites were new, experimental, and prone to errors. The system hadn't yet been fully proven. Could this really be an attack or just a mistake? The room was filled with tension. Every second ticked like a hammer on an anvil. If Petrov made the wrong call, his hesitation could mean annihilation for his own people. If he followed protocol, it could mean annihilation for the world. And so, against orders, against training, against the cold logic of machines, he chose to trust his gut. He picked up the phone and reported it as a false alarm. For long minutes, no one knew if he was right. The missiles were supposedly already in the air, streaking toward Soviet soil. If he was wrong, Soviet cities would soon explode in blinding light. But nothing happened. No bombs fell. The sky remained quiet. The satellites had been fooled by the reflection of sunlight on high-altitude clouds. Stanislav Petrov's decision, his human instinct to doubt the machines, had just saved the world. Yet here's the tragic irony. He was not celebrated as a hero. He was reprimanded for not following proper protocol. His career stalled. He fell into obscurity, living a quiet, modest life in a small apartment outside Moscow. For years, almost no one knew what he had done. Only later, when the Cold War thawed and documents were declassified, did the truth emerge. One man with no special power, no wealth, no fame, had prevented World War III. And when he was asked about it years later, Petrov said simply, "I was just in the right place at the right time." Nothing more, but it was more. Much more. Because in that moment, Stanislav Petrov reminded us of something profoundly human. That machines, protocols, and governments are not always enough to protect us. That sometimes the survival of billions can depend on a single act of courage, a single refusal to obey the script. It's terrifying to think about how close we came, how many times during the Cold War we were seconds away from annihilation, and how fragile human history truly is. We often imagine heroes as soldiers charging into battle, or leaders standing on podiums. But sometimes a hero is just a man sitting in silence, in the glow of a flickering computer screen, choosing not to press a button. Stanislav Petrov died in 2017, largely unknown to the world he saved. But his story endures, an invisible thread in the fabric of history, a reminder that even in our darkest hours, humanity can still shine through. And it leaves us with a question we cannot ignore. What happens the next time the machines cry wolf, and there isn't a Stanislav Petrov to say no?